That plane there, that's a DC-3. And that's both my father and my favorite plane. It's the most beautiful plane. And it's the plane my father first flew commercial on. See, that's the real thing. In fact, I've sat with him in that plane when he used to fly it. That's a King Air. That one. I don't remember this exact one, but generally whenever I was in a plane or a helicopter with my dad, I was put into the cockpit. What he'd do is he'd ask me about all the instruments and ask me questions, and we'd do the flight check together. So we'd walk around the plane, and then he'd ask me, okay, so what's that and what's that and what's that. And then later when I was in college, I learned how to fly. I remember we once went to Jaipur, Udaipur, and then we went to Bombay, and then we went to Srinagar as well. It was very exciting because these were all normally early morning flights. So sometimes it would just be a surprise. He'd come into my room. I remember once he came into my room at about 3:30 in the morning. He's like, okay, get ready. So I was like, what is this? Get ready. So he didn't tell me why or anything like that. So I was like, okay. I had a little aluminium case this big. I packed it with, my shirts and my pants and my shoes. And then I remember walking out in the dark and going. So we were going on a flight. And then I remember I sat in the jump seat. Those days, it was pre 9/11, so you could sit in the jump seat. And I remember sitting in the jump seat of a big plane for the first time, and him pointing out different things, and then starting the engine, which for us mechanical people is fantastic. So I can still remember it. And then there was a problem. There was some sort of a technical problem. It was an Avro, and the technical problem, so it was delayed. So I spent quite a lot of time in the cockpit while my father was trying to fix the problem on the ground. And then I remember when we took off. Wonderful. Look, if you're a pilot, that's a risk you take. I mean, that's just something that you take it. So my father told my uncle, because my uncle was flying a very particular type of plane, a Pitts Special. It's a very aggressive plane. My father told him that, don't do this. My uncle really didn't have the experience. My uncle had similar hours to what I have, about 300, 350 hours. And he shouldn't have been flying that plane. And he flew it, and that's what happens when you don't have the experience